South Africa has had a history of struggle and conflict. Most notably were the civil uprisings against the country's unjust segregation policy known as apartheid, which means the separate development of the races. Though it was abolished in the 90s, it has left an immense scar on the country's citizens. The Republic of South Africa is home to more than 43 million people. It spans an area of almost twice the size of Texas and is bordered by the Pacific and Indian Oceans. Its climate is mostly semi-arid, but along the eastern coast it is subtropical. Though South Africa is known as a middle-income country, it is still overshadowed by its continuing high AIDS and crime rates, as well as its alarming 30% unemployment rate.
Lions, tigers, and berras. Oh my. Oh.
We're going into the Big 5 game reserve,
which is a safari where it's like probably like 100 square mile range. They put you in this really tall, high, open bus with no roof, but like a canopy over it, and they just drive around these dirt roads looking for animals.
Safari was awesome, dude. Like, I don't know. That's just like stuff that you only see like on television out here. So it was cool to just actually be there. We're entering the property and the territory of the Big 5. Vicious rhinoceroses, awesome leopards and cheetahs and lions.
I don't know where my head was at, but I thought a safari was like in the jungle, like the Amazon or something. I'm like, what animals live out here? This is a desert. Nah, it's actually really fun because I've never seen those kind of animals that close.
I mean, to see that stuff in person, it's like watching a really big TV screen at the Discovery Channel, you know? But it's real. It's great.
We didn't get to see the lions and elephants, but I don't know, it was awesome.
The best thing about the safari was we saw a big rhino in the middle of the road, and that was probably the coolest thing.
I expected South Africa to be pretty sketchy. And then when I got to Johannesburg, it was sketchy.
They were just like telling us like all these areas that we weren't allowed to go into, like no downtown. I was like, forget about it, I'm from New York, I can handle it. And they were like, nah, you don't want to like go down there. Like these people like carjack you and then shoot you anyway for fun. We played it safe, stick to the hotel and like the local clubs and malls.
The skate parks in South Africa were actually a lot better than I thought they were gonna be.
Most of the stuff was pretty good. I mean, some stuff was crazy and it was like ridiculous, like Africa hot out there, like, you know? But I don't know, most of the stuff was pretty good.
There was definitely some sketchy stuff out there. I remember one bank, it said, "Do not skate, dangerous" on it. The metal at the bottom was flapping up really high, but we still skated it.
The kids out there, they were just actually happy to see you, and like a sticker meant the same as like any board or a t-shirt to them, like, you know? You could tell they don't get like demos and shit through there that often. They were just so psyched to see the pros and stuff.
Second demo out, I go in to do a kickflip figure on the quarter pipe. I lose the board and it just hit me in the ankle and I folded. By the end of the night it swelled up, and so throughout the remainder of the trip I was trying to skate on a really bunk ankle. Usually when you show up to a demo, you're the last one to arrive and you're the first one to leave. We were the last ones there and the last ones to leave. Partly it's because Keenan, he'd start skating and we'd just sit there and skate all night long. It was actually really cool.
Steve and Keenan and Huff are like totally the type of dudes that, you know, can just sit around and skate with anybody.
I don't know, we'd just stay there, like the guys would come out and tell us like, okay, that's cool, like thanks for doing the demo. We'd hang out for a bit, do a little autographing and sticker tosses and boards and stuff, and then go back to skating. The kids that hung around, they got to see like the actual real demos.
There's always like one little kid that somehow gets on tour with you, like a local kid who's, I don't know if he's friends with the distributor, it's like his older brother skates, I don't know. But we had Jack the Maniac.
Jack and Keenan just hit it off. It was pretty rad. That was Keenan's little buddy the whole time. He tortured him, he gambled with him, he threw him in the pool. Thank God it was him that got picked on and not me. That's all I really have to say.
I know, usually I can't chill with like little kids just because they're like little brats, but he was an exception. It was like an older mentality, like, you know? I taught him how it was to be an adult, like, I'll take your money, I don't care how old you are. Little Jack is crazy. When we got off the plane in Durban, we had just come from Johannesburg, and it was just like the craziest like weather change, like so tropical. Just started dripping sweat.
We were in Durban for what, 3 days, skate the same skate park all 3 days, and not because we really wanted to, we just didn't have anything else to do, and it was like skating in an oven.
This is torture.
Cape Town was like a blessing. It was like we've been in the ghetto for a week and then we finally get to this nice place that's a real city.
Cape Town is more like a San Francisco, Vancouver, Sydney type place where it's big city with mountains right on the water, so it's a little breezy, it's a little cooler, it's more of a beach type town, and a really beautiful city too.
I think one of the most awesome things was the fact that like right there where we were sitting right on the beach having like dinner that one night, it's like right where the Indian Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean meet up. 10 minutes to one direction is like water that you can swim in, and then like 10 minutes in the other direction is like water you like would freeze, like, you know.
Table Mountain was this huge mountain that overlooked the entire city of Cape Town basically. They call it Table Mountain because it's completely flat like a table.
We never actually got to go up because of like the wind factor with the cable cars and stuff, but that was an awesome sight.
none of us wanted to skate at all. It was like 10:30 in the morning. And it was a parking garage that only about 15 cars fit in. Although, you know, when you have the Deathlands, it'll look a lot bigger, but this place was really small. And the ramps were so bad.
I think that might have been our best demo. Everyone killed it for how bad that demo was.
It was fun because, you know, everyone was just having a good time. Keenan and John doing wall rides. I remember at one point, Keith was kickflipping over this bank to bank. I just started saying, huff, 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 and everyone just joined in. That was what was so rad about the demo, is that everybody was there and totally appreciated us. There was the one extreme part, which was pretty useless, I'd have to say. Oh man. It looked amazing when you walked in, but actually we had a better time skating the parking garage.
I mean, seriously, like, I guess any kid that grows up skating there is gonna be another Bob Burnquist, but geez, there's no need for that. Let's have some fun, let's not die.
I'm going to grind this rail.
We've been wanting to pet lions the whole time. So we get to this obscure lion village out in the middle of South Africa.
Basically, this guy and his wife, they rescued lions that had been mistreated from other zoos. They bring them to this place. So they're fairly used to humans, but I wouldn't say they're really tame, because no wild animal, especially a lion, is ever going to be tame.
They're like, yeah, you can go in the cage with some baby lions. We're like, yeah, baby lions. They're going to be like little cute kitty cats. So we go out there, I'm the first one to go. So I'm scared to death. He says, here's 2 rules. Sit the way I told you, with your back up to the thing like a 90-degree angle, and don't touch their head or their mouths.
When Berra went in, they got really excited and they were jumping all over him and putting their claws on top of his head and kind of biting at him. It looked kind of crazy.
Have your friend out there take their board and scrape it up against the side of your face, and that's what it felt like when this lion was licking the side of my face.
It's definitely rad to pet a baby lion. I think I'd like to have one, but I doubt that would happen.
Anyway, Keenan walks in. He doesn't sit straight. He has his knees propped up, and Keenan decides he's just gonna put his finger in the lion's mouth and pet its head and all kinds of stuff. He had no regard for what this guy was saying. And the thing is, it didn't bite him, and I think that only could have happened with Keenan. If it was me, if I touched the guy's face while he was licking me, he would have bit my neck off.
I mean, it's all an experience. If you live through it, then, like, you know, like, you live through it. If not, then you get mauled. So I just always take the chance and just to say I did it, to have a good story to tell, like, afterwards, you know?
Settled by the Indus Valley civilization over 5,000 years ago, India is one of the oldest inhabited lands in all of the world. Covering an area slightly larger than 1/3 the size of the entire United States, and with a population of over 1 billion people, India has become one of the most densely populated countries on the planet. To the north, India is bordered by the Himalayas, the tallest mountain range in the world. The southern, western, and eastern borders are formed by either the Arabian Sea or the Bay of Bengal, respectively. Since the country is so expansive, The climates vary greatly. Unfortunately, due to extensive poverty and massive overpopulation, only 2/3 of India's inhabitants can afford to eat a proper diet.
My mother is from India. She grew up there, and I've been there when I was a child. I was there 13 years ago, and I just decided it was time to go back. I talked to Lance about it many times, about us going over there and, you know, seeing if there's anything to skate. We decided to put this trip together, and we figured where there's people, there's pavement, so got to be something to skate there.
We went to India without a plan. We didn't know what cities we were going to. We didn't have any reservations anywhere, any hotels or anything. So we got there, we all sat down and we're like, okay, let's just go to these 5 cities and check it out, you know, let's just go for it.
Not to brag, but I've been all around the world. I've seen a lot of stuff, and I've never been culture shocked. But nothing ever prepared me for going to India.
I just walk off the airplane, like get into the airport, and I'm just like, what's that smell? And later on I would find out that this smell is just everywhere in the whole country.
The first day there, I seriously, in all truthfulness, thought that I was gonna fly home the next day because it was just too much to take.
Everywhere you look, it's something new, and it's just like so much to take in. You're put right in the mix, like it's madness. All of a sudden, the smog in LA doesn't seem that bad.
One of the big reasons why I was bugged out about India was the traffic. 24 hours a day, down every major highway, street, alley, path, sidewalk, whatever.
The traffic there is so heavy and they drive so fast that we'd run halfway across and be stuck in the median, which was only maybe 2 feet wide.
There were just millions and millions of cars and these things called a rickshaw automobile.
It's got like little motorcycle handles, 2 wheels in the back, 1 wheel in the front. This is a horrible, weak moped engine in there. Picture the worst driver of any of your friends. Imagine driving with him really fast in the city with no doors on the car.
The funny thing about skating there is that it doesn't exist. The majority of people had no idea what it was and never seen it. And that might have been their only interaction with skateboarding.
I always wonder what people who've never seen skating before, what they think, you know, and all these guys, they were so psyched just to even be able to stand on the board and roll a tiny bit.
There's seriously not that much stuff to skate there, and we're trying to turn nothing into something, just make something a spot.
The reason I think that we just couldn't find that much stuff was because we only spent 2 or 3 days in each place, and 2 of the days would be spent trying to get reservations at the next place.
There's a few little spots, but I wouldn't be rushing off to plan those skate tours there or nothing.
when something's holy there, like, it's different from being here. Like, they take religion very seriously there, so like, you're not skating something that's like holy and sacred at all. And like, that was the only stuff that would be marble and like smooth, and we can't skate this stuff because who knows what's gonna happen to us, you know?
We took trains pretty much everywhere. Trains were, you know, really cheap, and if it was a long train ride, we'd get a sleeper car. It's like an enclosed room with just little cots.
At all the train stations we'd go to, we'd be waiting for our train or whatever, and we'd all just be sitting around talking or whatever, and there'd be a crowd of like 6 or 8 dudes around us, just looking right down at us. I think they were mostly tripping on our skateboards though, because they'd probably seen plenty of European travelers, just not like us, you know.
You could hang out of the doors of the train. It wasn't like America where they're really concerned about your safety. And you'd see all types of stuff. You'd see, you know, fields of people working in them, and the most like random train stations in the middle of nowhere in India that you'd never think you'd ever see. Traveling by train was a blessing because we were allowed to see all that, you know. Whereas if we were on a plane traveling, it'd just be airport, go to the hotel.
Goa is a state in India. A lot of people think it's a town, but it's actually a teeny little state with a whole bunch of little beach towns in it. And it was my decision to go to Goa because I had heard about it, that it was really beautiful and that a lot of people from around the world went there and there was big parties there. And unlike the rest of India, it was really like unpopulated and quiet and just beautiful beaches. It's just like the best beach I've ever been to, that's for sure.
Yeah, the beach was great, the water was warm, and the only bad thing about the beach, I would say, would be that there were, you know, women on the beach that would try to sell you jewelry.
What's that? Give me 150, okay?
No.
150,
100. They're so persistent. They wouldn't leave you alone, really, until you bought something. And even then, they'd still try and push it on you.
We stayed at this place on the beach called the White Negro, and the guy said we could rent mopeds. So we rented 3 mopeds and 1 motorcycle. We had them for like 3 days, and ended up being like $6 a piece or something for the whole time. And we got to check out like a whole bunch of stuff that we definitely wouldn't have got to see if we hadn't rented them.
Anjuna Beach was beautiful. You could sit there at night and look at the stars and look at the waves. Wish that you were there with a girl instead of 5 skaters.
If I ever made a trip back to India for some reason, that's the place I would go.
When we were in Goa and we were trying to get to Bombay, we couldn't get a train, so we had to take a sleeper bus. 16 hours. We had the worst seats, all the way in the back at the bottom level. With 5 seats in a row, all of us shoulder to shoulder, you know, hadn't showered in a day or two. Stinking, the whole bus was filled with like hippies and just weird people traveling.
Look at the water, look at the water. Oh my God, man.
We're just looking at the water, like, oh my God, look at that water. Like, how did it get so dirty like that?
What's going on down here?
We look down straight below us in the water, and there's some kids squatted.
It's so gnarly, like, it doesn't seem real.
Bombay, it's one of the biggest cities in India, so we expected to find a lot of stuff there to skate. You know, big cities usually mean big financial district and banks and buildings, and you know, you're gonna find stuff to skate.
We skated around and walked around, I think, like the whole city, and we came up with like 1 or maybe 2 at the most skate spots.
So we decided to go to this tank. And a tank is kind of like a man-made pond. And there's one that Shiva, one of the gods, took one of her arrows and shot it into the ground, and out came this natural spring. So we went to see this tank, and basically it was in this little teeny neighborhood, and you had to go weave through these back alleys just to get there. And it was kind of sketchy, but it was kind of neat at the same time, because there's plenty of us, and we got big, tall Kenny Hughes, the only black guy in probably the whole country, you know, with a gold chain on and a DC hat. Like, they just looked at him like he was nuts, so no one messed with us.
Taj Mahal was just incredible. I didn't realize it was that big. We walked up to it and it was all made out of white marble.
If you're in India, you have to go see it, you know? And for it to be as old as it is, it looks like it's brand new. I never would have thought that I ever would be there or even ever have a reason to go there. And now I see it, I'm just like, whoa, like I was there. It was one of the best things I've seen in India and in my life, actually. Another thing about India is there's wild monkeys. When we're in Varanasi, they're like just everywhere.
We could go up on the roof of the hotel and look around, look out, and we could see the monkeys climbing from building to building, going into people's open windows and coming out with shirts or shiny objects or bottles or something.
They kind of terrorize the people who live in the houses and stuff, you know, because they're just wild monkeys and they're so human-like, but at the same time, they're like wild animals, so you gotta be careful, you know.
I know one of the monkeys chased Kenny Hughes. He fell down a flight of stairs. It's too bad we didn't have footage of that.
It's one of the oldest cities in the world, and to the Hindus, the holiest city in the world. And it's right on the banks of how we say the Ganges, but in India they say the Ganga.
Yeah, the river Ganges is like the holiest river in India, and basically life in India revolves around the river. When we first got into Varanasi, it was like 5:30 in the morning.
We walked down to the river. We got a boat for about $3, a rowboat with a young kid who spoke good English to row us down on the Ganga.
He'd paddle us up and down the river, you know, just checking out the scene. We'd get him to meet us at the same spot every morning.
The people of India, you know, they believe that once you die, you're reincarnated and, you know, you come back to live in this world. But if you die in Varanasi, that cycle ends and you go to nirvana, you go to heaven basically. And so there's a lot of people that make a pilgrimage to Varanasi to die, be cremated on the ghats at the Ganga.
They call it the mother of India, Mother Ganga. It like feeds everything and it also takes everything away.
They wash their clothes in it, they bathe in it, they use it for drinking water, they brush their teeth in it, they swim in it, they make their money off of it. They let their sewage run into it, they put their trash into it, they put dead animals in there.
You can't imagine until you're there and you see it for yourself. I mean, it's wild.
Varanasi was by far the craziest place I've ever been. It embodied everything that I thought India would be, and it was as bizarre as any place could ever be. I mean, if you would ever go to India, that would be the place to go.
Watch him do this and bust the sickest trip of yours. Oh, sorry.
It's just funny to think about how like something like as simple and as easy as skateboarding that we take for granted, like it doesn't even exist in that country. And this was like us like bringing it to India.
While retaining its cultural past, Japan has rapidly absorbed Western technology. So much, in fact, that after its devastating defeat in World War II, Japan regrouped to become the second most powerful economy in the world. Located between the Sea of Japan and the Pacific Ocean, it is comprised of a chain of islands which, when combined, are roughly the size of California. With a population of 126 million people, a lengthy life expectancy of over 80 years, and a large portion of the country being uninhabitable, Japan suffers from overpopulation and the pollution resulting from it. The climate varies from tropical in the south to cool temperate in the north, with occasional tsunamis in some areas. Japan is also among the world's largest producers of motor vehicles, electronic equipment, and ships. But perhaps the key to Japan's long-term economic strength lies in its robotics industry. After all, Japan possesses over 57% of the entire world's working robots.
Dude, how big does my nose look right now?
What about my teeth?
What's up with this course right here?
It's pretty bling bling. All the ramps are brand new. It's a great course.
Skate parks were, I wouldn't really consider them a park.
The courses were pretty budget. It was like almost like in the start of the chocolate video. They seriously had stuff like that for us to skate. But you could do anything and it didn't matter, you know, they were hype.
The next day we go to do a demo, and we're skating for a little while, and all of a sudden my board flies over the back of this ramp. I go to pick up my board and there's shit all over my wheel. And I'm just like, oh my god, dude, this is how it's gonna start out.
My experience to Japan was pretty crazy. Like me being half Japanese, I always wanted to go there but never really had the chance to without skateboarding. The people were really rad. Like everyone was so nice. Like we were in a hotel room and there was a bug in the room and like I wanted to stomp it. But Hiroshi's like, no, no, no. He like got a bag and put the bug in a bag and set it outside. And that kind of just made me really notice how their culture is. They respect everything there.
The people of Japan
Welcome to Japan.
came off as very happy-go-lucky people.
The people in Japan are amazing. I think they just like love life or something. They look like they're always happy. They totally like respect everyone else's space and property.
Just the way they're brought up, the way we're brought up, is completely two different worlds. I like Japan, its culture. The food, let's see, the food was quite amazing. I kind of understand why they're much healthier people as opposed to the people where we live.
Their fast food is like health food. You go to 7-Eleven over there, you can't buy junk. You buy like healthy snacks. It's weird.
Oh, the food was rad. I love Japanese food. But I don't know, you're not used to waking up and having a small piece of fish, rice, a little piece of egg, and like miso soup. You know, I wake up in the morning and I'll have like a burrito or something. I don't know, piece of pizza.
Hotels was a whole nother experience.
Japanese style hotel. So you have your futon mattresses here.
The room just felt different because it was so minimal.
Traditional bath style kimono.
Wasn't a lot of materials, no like kitchen.
I will take one of these home with me.
Or bathroom type area. It was just like a open area.
I don't know what the hell this thing is.
A lot of these hotels actually were like, I had to ask about them, and they were for like businessmen who would be like traveling between jobs and stuff.
What's this thing do, Ewan? Oh, it's a lamp. Just a lamp.
We traveled all on the west coast, all the way to the north, and then all the way back down the east coast.
We're lucky enough to get most of the northern region covered. And in the northern area, it's more mountainous and there's way more trees and there's rice paddies for days. It feels good every day to see something like that. You don't really see a lot of like things that are dying, you know? You see things that are really living. They're really bright and vivid.
Anyways, we were driving over the hill and there's just this huge temple city surrounded by mountains. That's actually Hiroshi, our distributor's hometown. When we went to the temple, you buy like an incense and you light it on this like torch that I suppose always stays lit, and then you walk it over to this dragon and you put it in the dragon's mouth and the dragon is smoking and you kind of waft the smoke on you and it's supposed to cure you of all bad things.
The inspiration with fashion, I have no idea where these people get. It's just so out of hand.
Oh my god. The girls, man, their crazy looks, like they wear these crazy space boot things, like even guys are like rocking some insane get-ups.
Skateboarding out there was rad. I liked the weather a lot, a little humidity in the air, but the best thing about it probably was all the spots are so untouched, and you'll just find the most amazing things that have never been waxed, never been grinded. It's really cool.
While we were there, we went to this one town, and like once a year there's this like humongous fireworks display. Like it's a big celebration, and literally there was like thousands and thousands of people.
We're going to the night festival of the fireworks. A lot of geisha girls, a lot of fireworks, good food, good people.
The fireworks went on forever and ever and ever. Like seriously, I felt like I was there for like an eternity, you know?
It was one of the most like spectacular events I've ever seen in my life. Just seeing all those fireworks going off. And they had a bridge which went across the water, and they lit the whole bridge. Like they had pinwheels spinning and like all these just fire everywhere, you know what I mean? And it was just an insane looking thing. It was like something out of a movie, you know? It didn't seem real.
Located in Central America, between the Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean Sea, lies the tropical country of Costa Rica. Since gaining its independence from Spain in 1821, Costa Rica has become a relatively stable democracy. In fact, they are one of the only countries in the world to have absolutely no military. Only covering an area the size of West Virginia, Costa Rica is literally filled to the brim with every type of terrain imaginable. Near the center of the country, you'll find rugged mountainous regions, and if you head to either coast, you'll find some of Central America's most exquisite beaches, not to mention a few of the most sought-after surf spots in all the world. Although still a largely agricultural country, it has achieved a relatively high standard of living. And with the country's political stability, high education levels, and booming tourism industry, Costa Rica appears to have a very bright future.
This morning we woke up about 6:30 in the morning to howling monkeys. What happened, Danny? Hey, you know what you're gonna be?
Buckle up, Mike. We are Survivor, man.
Welcome to Costa Rica.
This may have been hands down the best trip I've ever had. Australia would be a very, very close second. But you see, on this trip it was very laid back. We were able to take in the sights and see the beautiful things that this motherland had to offer us.
Ernesto and Rodrigo and our boy Anthony, the driver, they hooked us up real good.
They took us in this big bus type of vessel. It was great, a lot of elbow room, you know, you kick your feet up, and there was a microphone in the van, so I could project my voice louder.
See how long I can do this. Okay, I think I'm gonna sit now. I'm done. Just kidding! You thought it was all over, but we go further ahead as we trek into the deep part of the treacherous jungle.
Every demo was either like an hour or two away, because we were deep in the rainforest, so we had long drives every day, no matter what.
All of the parts were relatively good. The first part was probably the worst one, but not bad by any means. Just small, cute, quaint, you know, very intimate.
The worst one was probably the first part. Basically like a half pipe spread out with a little bit of flat in the middle.
Frey's in the hospital right now. He got hurt bad. That's why he's not here signing autographs.
There was a lot of autograph signings where you would have to go and just sit at a skate shop.
Usually they'd be in a mall and there'd be like a line of 50 million people and they'd sit us down. And being in the mall, more people would show up, so the line would just never end. We signed, I couldn't even say how many.
You're signing kids like a shirt the first time and then he jumps back in line and he comes back and he wants his shoe signed or something, so it gets a little frustrating, but I mean, it's all good. The street skating was kind of limited. There wasn't much to skate.
All the spots, they're made out of like pumice. They're real rough.
Street spots was gnarly. No one really skated on that much besides Freddie.
Okay, right now we're in Talamanca. That's the southern Caribbean coast. There's a lot of wildlife around. You guys are gonna check out. We're doing a couple walkthroughs, do some trails, maybe see some wildlife and chill. Chill.
The guys were like, "Oh, let's check out a waterfall." We're like, "All right." So we just started hiking, and the hike turned into like a 2-hour hike. That was some shit that we didn't know we were getting into.
We had to walk on these sketchy paths that were all muddy, and we all slipped and fell. Everybody went down, but G was, you know, probably down the most, I believe.
Straight up, dude. My backpack was so freaking heavy, and I kept falling and sliding.
Too much. 80-pound backpack on. This ain't good for hiking.
And next thing I know is we're near the waterfall, but we got to walk through a stream to get to the waterfall, and we got our skate kicks on, you know. Peace out to those things.
What happened, Danny?
Lost my sandals. I'm in the jungle, baby. I'm gonna die.
I felt like a real adventurer.
Yo, look what I found.
I was the Jacques Cousteau of the rainforest.
Whoa, ew, it smells funny.
There's one hotel we were at.
there was like a little deck outside the pool, and we just took the bars off that went around us, and then you could skate off the deck into the pool.
Ryan G has a knack for doing real dumb stuff. That's why we brought him along. He thinks it's because he can take photos, but we knew he would get hurt somehow and we'd all be entertained. Okay, we are at this hotel. There's a little fenced-in area where there's these deer living next to these pool tables and stuff, you know, little outdoor scene. It's good, it's great, nice ambiance.
So I decided to hop the fence just to get close to the deer because it looked like a petting zoo thing.
So G gets over, sits on the stump, feeding the deer. Everything's going great. And then all of a sudden the deer just decides to flip out and try to end G's life. So it gets up on its hind legs and starts pummeling the crap out of G, like...
But didn't even really hurt though. Then I hopped over like a 10-foot fence. That demo was so crazy. We had security guards to guide us in there because the kids are just such maniacs out there.
And then we go in one by one. They tell your name, you go in and you go off. Kill it! You gotta kill it!
You go in and all these people are just like cheering your name, just freaking out. It's a good feeling to know that people are psyched on you.
Security guards were very necessary, you know, otherwise they would have tore us apart.
It was overwhelming in a way. Kids just going nuts. If they got a hold of us, they would have probably ripped us apart.
Look at this dude. Hold on, don't go too fast. Hey, there's somebody in the back of the van. Oh, there you go, very aggressive.
they took us out to these big hills out in the mountains. There's these big cables that go from mountain to mountain. They strap you onto this little handle you hold on to, and then it straps around your waist and stuff like that, so you cannot fall off. And you just go from one side of the mountain to another, and you're just cruising over at different heights. And the last one's so high. It was just like the best experience I ever had in my life.
Hello, I'm Roger. You are from Pluhowski National Park. You are watching 411. Is it 411 or channel 411?
Yeah, 411. You're right. You got it. Yeah, you got it. Nice, man.
Best zoo I ever been to. Some people think it's sketchy, but that's what a zoo should be. It's like, you know, you go to a zoo in the States, and if you're trying to get next to a lion, you're gonna have a huge fence with a cement wall and a big moat around their area, so you can't even get near it. This one had baby lions like 2 feet away, and you could just reach in and try to grab them, and they'd just kill you.
The zoos were nuts, too. Like some of the animals were like free, like running around, little monkeys and stuff.
There you go.
I've lost Keenan and Keith and Lance along the way, but I'm using the African Ugandan noise of the to get a hold of them.
Yeah, so we're on the beach in Goa, and then I was just kind of joking around, like climbing up this palm tree, and then Dawes is like, "Yeah, dude, go to the top." I'm like, "No way, dude."
Upside down. I did it the American way.
Oh, check his eyes out. He's got one green eye, one blue eye.
Welcome to, hello?
Yeah. Welcome to Japan.
Welcome to Japan. 411.
New style's fresh, no cameras fresh.
The high school girl? Oh, what? Like what? Supernature, nice and nasty.
When I smoke, it makes me have a clean and tender heart.
Transport Skateboarding Magazine presenta El Hábitat por Skate Tour Costa Rica 2001. Con la participación de Kerry, Getz, Danny Garcia, Tim O'Connor, Brian Wenning, pluhowski, Fred Gall.
Losing my breath. What else? Say. And film that. Just turn this, pan over this. Camera might splash.
We
were talking about the rainforest. It was great. I loved it. I felt like I was one with nature. I bonded with the earth. I understood why I'm really here. I knew what Brad Pitt was talking about in Fight Club. Our belongings are nothing. Our belongings end up owning us. If you, what am I talking about?
Question?
That's the kind of stuff you can't pass up. No matter what, you take your chances and just go for it, and it turned out to be really fun.
Say one love, kid.